So you're considering moving to the great sunshine state of Florida, and you're curious, hey, what are the things that I need to know? What is life going to be like here living in Florida? What do I need to be aware of? Well, in this video, we're going to go over the top 10 things that you need to be aware of, or life could be rough when you move here. So stick around. What's up, everybody? This is Tim Whittemore with the Whittemore Group. We're right here in the Destin-Fort Walton Beach area. That's right up here on the beautiful Emerald Coast. If this is your first time to our channel, we do tons and tons of videos about everything you need to know about our area. Now, as a military veteran of 14 years and now a military spouse, I have moved so many places. And every time I moved somewhere, there was always such a lack of information of where to move to and what to anticipate. That's why we created this channel for you. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every single time we got a new video coming out. Now, honestly, we get tons of calls about people that want to know what it's like to live, eat, sleep, play, work in this area, and we absolutely love it. So if you are coming to our area here in the Emerald Coast, you got some questions, you need some help, give us a call, text, email, heck, shoot us a little paper airplane. Whatever you need to do, we got your back when moving here to the Destin-Fort Walton Beach area. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about the great state of Florida and the 10 things that you're gonna need to know about. And this could be really rough if you can't handle these 10 things, okay? All right, so first things first, when we think about Florida, I'm originally from upstate New York, and what do most New Yorkers do? Well, they go vacation down south. Yep, I'm one of those transplants, and I can't help it. That's just what we do. Us and Canadians and everybody else. So anyway, we head down here to the great state of Florida, and number one on this list, of course, is tourism. So there's always going to be a good amount of people coming down to that area, and it could be for a variety of things. Now here on the Emerald Coast, it's because of our beautiful, beautiful white sand beaches on the Gulf. Not only that, but the water is pristine, and at most times of the year, it's got this beautiful emerald color. Yeah, we're not making that up and throwing this in the video. That's what it actually looks like. And you can see all the way to the bottom in some areas. It's absolutely gorgeous. Not only that, but of course you've got the theme parks down in Orlando, you've got cruise ports, you've got everything. So all throughout the years, people are going to the southernmost part, or one of the most southern parts of the United States in order to vacation. So you're gonna have to deal with tourism when you live here in the Sunshine State. Number two, the weather. Now, everybody knows that they're going to come down here to vacation. In so doing, we are going to have to deal with a couple of things. Well, first of all, it's hot. It is hot, especially when you get down to more southern Florida. Here on the Emerald Coast, it gets hot, it gets humid for the most part. Up here, we actually do get sort of a winter. We'll call it a winter. If you're Canadian and you're watching this, you're like, yeah, that's not a winter. But we do get down to about, sometimes down to 40 something degrees Fahrenheit. And every 4 years, it seems like in the Destin area, we'll get down to like 20. But it's only for a couple of days, and then it starts warming back up again. Other things you gotta worry about, tropical storms, hurricanes, yeah, those are a thing. Those do come here, but know that most of the buildings are built up to code, or rather they're supposed to be, having things like hurricane clips on top of the roof, having up nails in the shingles, things like that. Everybody's used to this. If you're really concerned about hurricanes, the things, when people start to leave, that's probably when you need to go. Us locals, we get used to this thing. If it's going to be a Cat 4 or better, or a probability thereof, we're probably buttoning up the hatches here and then heading up through our hurricane evac route to get out of the major part of the storm. But the weather, yeah, it's hot and it's humid for the most part. Number three, because of tourism, well, traffic. And I'm not just going to say it's a tourist. I've been down Miami, and I've actually personally purchased a vehicle from a private dealer, and I was just driving back up. I had owned the vehicle for maybe 20 minutes and rear-ended right in the back there. Okay, so sometimes it's not the tourism, it's just the people driving absolutely insane. Now, the reason that some of the traffic is so bad is the infrastructure wasn't always necessarily there, especially up in Northwest Florida. And we're trying to get to these places that are next to the beach, and we don't have all that land. We've got bays and bayous and things that we have to go around and take the most circuitous route possible to get somewhere, which just makes makes traffic back up. And of course, the volume of traffic, and if it can't handle that, can definitely be an issue. Number 4, this is a real estate channel, so let's talk a little bit about real estate. Housing prices can be a bit high in the Sunshine State. The reason being is, well, it's because a ton of people are wanting to come down here. Our average that we have across the continental United States for a single family home is $217,500 as of the date of this video in 2021. Now we just, if you're watching this later, you were like, oh yeah, that was when the big housing market started going up exponentially. Well, it's starting to even out a little bit as we see here in really across the entire United States, but also here in Florida. But because of that, home prices are going to be a little bit higher. They have to be built at a little bit higher of a standard to get those things going. So your house prices are going to be a little bit more. And on average, it depends on where you're going to go, depending on how much higher that's actually going to be. Usually in proximity to water, proximity to things will dictate what those prices are. If you are curious about what the ones are in our specific area, reach out to us directly, call, text, or email. We're happy to give those reports out at any time. Just give us your email. Okay, other thing about housing is, well, we have taxes and we have insurance, right? Those are part of your escrow things, not just to include your principal and interest in a PMI or MIP. Because of that, insurance is a big part of this. Now, if you get home insurance for the year, you can go up to another state that I am currently licensed in Ohio. For the premium for the year is less than $1,000. Now, down here in Florida, this is 2021, they just dropped over 50,000 different coverages just in our area because they were like, hey, we're not going to insure Florida anymore. So home insurance has gone up quite a lot, and prices keep going up with that. Now, certain things, like I had mentioned before, like having certain inspections, having the roof made certain, it's called a wind mitigation inspection, again, checking those hurricane clips and everything else, can drop that down pretty significantly. So make sure that you talk to your real estate agent or your insurance agent to see what things you need to be aware of prior to purchasing a house for that. Now, also your auto carriers. Yeah, auto is affected too. So I'm prior military, and I used to use what most military veterans used USAA for a long time. And I'm not bad talking any of them, but I will say that anytime I tried to get insurance here in the state of Florida, that they wouldn't actually do it. They actually hired a third party out to get insurance, which skyrocketed how much it actually was going to cost. So certain carriers, even for your auto, won't specifically insure you here in Florida. So make sure to get with a local insurance agent. Those are going to be the people that will be able to give you the best deals going forward. All right, number 6. I threw this in because I think it's pretty hilarious, especially if you come from a different area. If you haven't heard of Florida Man, Google it. Oh man, Florida Man. What if you haven't seen this? This was started to get popular back in 2013. And they would come up with all these crazy things that people are getting arrested for. Now, the reason is it's because of Florida law. Now, Florida law makes official records related to state governing agencies accessible to the entire public. So anybody that just wants to start coming up with things and be like, I can't believe that person just did that, They could just post it onto a news article, make it into a meme. All these, there's a website specifically for this. It's actually pretty hilarious. But anybody that actually gets arrested, gets a mugshot, that all is public record and you can find it. So if somebody says they have or haven't been in jail, well, you can look it up. All right, number 7 is I'm going to talk about politics a little bit here. If you didn't know, back at least now in 2021, where that seems to be a hot subject, to me it really doesn't matter too much one way or the other, but certain places in Florida seem to swing a little bit more to the conservative side, a little bit more to the right, so to speak. So I have, at least here on the Emerald Coast, have shown people around or done videos, and we saw some Trump flags flying and things like that, and people seem to get disgusted or whatever, and they couldn't handle it. So make sure that you know that you're able to handle that. People may, at least not in the city areas, lean a little bit more right in this state. All right, number 8, we did mention taxes before. Nice thing about the state of Florida is taxes are paid once a year, and there's no state income tax either. Don't worry, they get it back other ways, just like your property taxes, your sales taxes, and things like that. Now, still in comparison to, say, California or New York, all of those property taxes are still relatively low depending on where you're coming from. However, the good news is it's only paid once a year. If you come from another state that I am currently licensed in, it gets paid twice a year and it's paid in arrears. I think that they came up with this to employ more tax people and CPAs, so it was like impossible for somebody normal to just go, oh, this is how it works. Yeah, you get paid once a year, at least for your property taxes, and that's pretty nice. All right, number 9 on the list is the cost of living. Now, cost of living is going to be a little bit more high depending on where you're going, but overall, it's about 2 to 5% above our national average for cost of living. If you want to know specifically for different areas here on the Emerald Coast, you can check out our videos here on this channel where we have cost of living for Destin, cost of living for Fort Walton, Navarre, Crestview. We have all those specific ones. So if you have questions specifically on that, please do let us know. Or of course, you can find out where we get our data from, and you can check out areavibes.com, niche.com, all those other ones to be able to help you out and determine what's best for you. Some of that data is a little bit hard to determine and distinguish, so you're always welcome to give us a call if you have questions on that. Okay, last but not least, you probably have been waiting for me to say it, but number 10 is the wildlife. It's a little bit different than any other places that you're gonna go. What's that first thing people think about? Alligators, gators. That's right, and we're not talking about the ones that play football in Central Florida, right? Alligators are a thing here, all right? And it's pretty much all throughout Florida. Certain places, at least in the place that we are, they're not very prevalent. They are a little bit more towards the Panama City area. Usually where we see a lot of them is where there's a combination between just salt water and regular not salt water. When we start to see those things intertwined, that's where we start to see a little bit more alligators throughout that area. But they're not all around here. They're not biting at dogs that are walking in the street or in the backyard for the most part. You're not going to typically see that between, unless you've got freshwater and saltwater source mixing together, and that's typically where we see them, at least in our area. You're also going to see iguanas, which is kind of cool. If it gets really cold, they fall out of the sky. That actually happened just about a year ago, where we had a good freeze in South Florida, and they'll go down. We don't have iguanas up in the Panhandle, but we do have lizards and some snakes. Now, we do have pythons throughout the state of Florida as well. It's not a huge thing here in Northwest Florida, but it can be in certain areas. Aquatic animals, yeah, you have sea turtles, frogs, you've got all manatees, dolphins. I mean, I don't know how many times I've just been driving along and see dolphins playing over in the East Pass in Destin. It's beautiful, and it's a little bit different if you're not used to that. Also, Florida bugs. Insects, that's right. Those things are huge, they're all over the place, but quite honestly, they're not that bad. Some of the ones that people really complain about are palmetto bugs, which look like cockroaches, and everybody thinks it is, but it's not. And when we get a good rain, they try to get out of the rain and they'll find a way to get into the house. Again, not a huge issue, maybe happens once or twice a year, and you can pretty much fumigate and get rid of those. But those insects are going to be bigger than most parts of the country as you come around here, so be prepared for that. They don't swarm like they do the black flies up in Alaska in the summer season, of course, depending on where you are. The closer you get to water, the better off you're going to be. All right, and the last is going to be birds. There's tons of birds here in Florida. There's over 500 different species just in this state alone, which is crazy. And I'm not talking about the ones in the zoo. They're all throughout this area. If you love birds or you're a bird lover, bird watcher, this is a great place to be so you can see them. And of course, a migration of birds going back and forth. It's just really cool to see all throughout this area. So that's all that I have for you for living in Florida. And it's going to be rough if you can't handle those top 10 facts. If you have any questions about anything that I did mention here, please go ahead and leave them here in the comments below. And of course, if you are moving to Northwest Florida, you have any questions or need any help, give us a call, text or email, or find us on social media, whatever you got to do. We got your back when moving here to the Destin-Fort Walton Beach area and all across here on the Emerald Coast. Again, I'm Tim Whittemore with the Whittemore Group with eXp Realty. We'll see you in our next video. Take care.